When we reach Sefer Vayikra, it is easy to tune out. We have a lot of trouble relating to sacrifices today, and Sefer Vayikra is full of detailed descriptions of sacrifices. However, we can learn something from examining these detailed descriptions. This week, in Parshat Shmini, we read about the sacrifices that Aaron, the high priest, brought in conjunction with the dedication of the Mishkan. These sacrifices are similar to the sacrifices of another day, Yom Kippur. If this is the case, perhaps there is a deeper connection between the dedication of the Mishkan and Yom Kippur. The first thing we notice when comparing the sacrifices of Yom HaShmini to those of Yom Kippur are that there are separate sacrifices for Aaron, the high priest, and for Bnei Israel. The sacrifices for Aaron are almost identical on the 2 days. On Yom HaShmini, Egel ben bakar lechatat v'ayil le'olam, a young calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. And on Yom Kippur, par ben bakar lechatat v'ayil le'olam, a young bullock for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. The sacrifices for Bnei Israel are not identical, but do have some similarities. Although there is certainly not a one-to-one correspondence between the sacrifices of the 2 days, they are similar enough to suggest that there is a connection between the 2 days and that it is worth taking a deeper look. And it doesn't take long to find additional connections. What is the purpose of these sacrifices on both days? Kapara, atonement. On Yom HaShmini we read, V'chiper ba'adcha u'be'ad ha'am, and make atonement for thyself and for the people. Then we further read, Ve'aseh korban ha'am v'chiper ba'adam, and make atonement for them as the Lord has commanded. On Yom Kippur we read, V'chiper ba'ado ve'ad beito, and make atonement for himself and for his house. And this again is followed by V'chiper ba'ado ve'ad beito ve'ad kol kahal Yisrael. Make atonement for himself and for his household and for all the congregation of Israel. If we look in the Mishnah in Masechet Yoma, which describes the service for Yom Kippur, we find an additional connection. Just as Aaron and his sons, the priests, lived in the Mishkan and brought sacrifices for 7 days prior to the dedication on the 8th day, so too, every year the high priest lives in the Beit HaMikdash and brings sacrifices for 7 days prior to Yom Kippur. What can we make of this connection between the 2 days? It would seem that Yom Kippur is an annual celebration or reenactment of the dedication ceremony of the 8th day. What is the purpose then of such a reenactment? And what is the purpose of the yearly atonement? To answer this, we must determine the purpose of the dedication of the Mishkan in the first place. Fortunately, the Torah tells us this explicitly. Ki hayom Adonai nira alechem. For today the Almighty will appear to you. And that's followed by Zeh hadavar asher tziva Adonai v'yira alechem kavod Adonai. This is the thing which the Almighty commanded that you should do, and the glory of the Almighty shall appear unto you. The purpose of the dedication of the Mishkan, and it would certainly seem the purpose of the Mishkan itself, is to bring the glory of God, the divine presence, into our midst. The purpose of Yom Kippur is never stated explicitly, but by comparison to Yom HaShmini, it seems obvious that its purpose is the same. It is a day to bring the divine presence into our midst. What then is the atonement all about? We can find the answer to this in the final connection between the days, the tragic deaths of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu, who are consumed by the divine fire for bringing an Eish Zarah, a strange fire. The Parsha of the Yom Kippur service is introduced with a reference to their deaths. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe acharei mot shnei bnei Aharon v'korbatam lifnei Adonai vayamutu. The purpose of the dedication of the Mishkan, the purpose of the Mishkan itself, is to bring the Shekhinah, the divine presence, into the midst of Bnei Israel. And yet, as soon as this happens, Nadav and Avihu are killed. It is difficult to live so close to the divine presence. If we are very close to God, there is no room for mistakes, no room for sin. We want to be close to God, but we don't want to be consumed by fire if we sin. We're in a bind. What are we to do? Yom Kippur is the day once a year that we reenact the dedication of the Mishkan. The ultimate purpose of Yom Kippur is to bring the divine presence into our midst. But in order to be that close to God, we must fully purify ourselves from sin. Hence the Yom Kippur service, whose purpose is to cleanse the Mishkan and cleanse the people of Israel so that God can dwell in our midst. The atonement is only the preparation. The true purpose of Yom Kippur is to have one day a year when the divine presence can dwell with us. The Mishnah in Ta'anit tells us that Yom Kippur was one of the 2 happiest days of the year. But Yom Kippur seems to us to be a very somber and serious day. But the true purpose of those somber and serious aspects of the day is only a preparation for the true purpose, V'yera lechem kivod Adonai, for the glory of God to be revealed to us. As we say every day, 3 times, Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, blessed is the one who dwells in your house. Shabbat Shalom.